Today, we're witnessing multiple crises, from violent conflicts in Lebanon and Gaza to the devastation brought by Hurricane Milton in Florida. These events highlight both human suffering and the relentless forces of nature. But what does it all mean? Welcome to Nature Unleashed. According to Aba Al-Sadiq Abdullah Hashem from his peace, these catastrophes are not random. They hold a deeper significance, reflecting spiritual warnings for our time. In Lebanon, the situation is dire. Over 1,200 people have lost their lives in what's being called the Third Lebanon War. Hezbollah's support for Hamas has intensified the conflict with Israel, resulting in devastating airstrikes and ground invasions. Lebanon and Gaza are being systematically demolished, displacing millions and leaving entire regions unrecognizable. This conflict has not only devastated infrastructure, but also created a humanitarian crisis with countless families torn apart and communities in ruin. Meanwhile, in Florida, Hurricane Milton recently struck with a fury. Making landfall as a Category 3 hurricane, Milton brought heavy rainfall, powerful winds, and severe flooding to the Tampa Bay area and beyond. This storm displaced millions, leaving them without electricity, food, or shelter. Cities along Florida's coast have been battered and many neighborhoods lie in ruins, reminiscent of the destruction seen in Lebanon and Gaza. Milton's damage spans nearly the entire state, prompting federal disaster declarations and mass evacuations. Aba Al-Sadiq Abdullah Hashem from his peace sees a profound spiritual connection between these events. He explains that the punishment befalling Florida mirrors the devastation in Lebanon and Gaza, almost as if the same area size has been chosen for these calamities.
And you look at what's taking place there and you say, oh my goodness, well, the same thing is taking place in Lebanon. Actually, the punishment in Florida is taking place over an area that is almost identical. It almost is equal to the area of Lebanon and Gaza that are also being demolished, and that also American weapons have caused millions of people to be displaced, right? So it's almost like these people were warned, and they had a messenger come to them, and he wanted that they, repent to God. They rejected the messenger. They rejected the supremacy of God.
But why? According to Aba Al-Sadiq, this destruction is a form of karma, a consequence of actions taken by those in power who have supported violence and oppression abroad. The suffering inflicted on people in distant lands has returned, affecting those at home in an almost identical manner. In the same way, the devastation seen in Lebanon and Gaza is a form of karma for choosing corrupt, tyrannical leaders who have been brought war and destruction to their own people. Aba Al-Sadiq calls this a warning, a chance for the people to return back to God and reject the supremacy of man in favor of God's leadership. Just as prophets of old warned the people, he urges everyone to recognize the importance of seeking God's guidance in these turbulent times. He emphasizes that simply following the wisdom of human leaders, those driven by self-interest and power, is leading society into disaster. Now, he's warning people to mark their doors as the Bani Israel did with lamb's blood, to declare their allegiance to God by writing Al-Bay'a Lillah, allegiance is to God.
We invite all of those people that have heard this message to do as the Bani Israel did when they marked their doors, marked their homes with the blood of the Lamb. We invite them to write in this day and age Al-Bay'a Lillah on their doors in order that the punishment may pass over them. Write on their doors that allegiance, that kingship, rulership is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that when the punishment befalls these nations, that it can pass over these homes, because certainly God would never punish a home in any of these places that was believing in the supremacy of God and declaring that they believed in the supremacy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
These acts will offer divine protection in the face of what's to come. For those who heed this call and embrace the supremacy of God, He offers the hope that God's mercy will pass over them as they commit themselves to a higher path. As hurricanes, wars, and other catastrophes unfold, Aba Al-Sadiq, from whom is peace, reminds us that these events signal the urgent need for humanity to choose its path. These disasters are not merely natural or geopolitical. They are spiritual signs, reminders to turn away from the systems of greed and violence and to follow God's appointed path by accepting the supremacy of God and seeking divine guidance. He says we can begin to heal this broken world. Thank you for watching Nature Unleashed. In a time of such upheaval, may we each reflect on our choices and the path ahead. Stay informed, stay awake, and consider what it means to choose the supremacy of God. Back to the studio.